Hey folks, a rational consumer here with a book review of Disrupting the Game from the Bronx to the Top of Nintendo by Reggie Fils-Aimé. It's not really a memoir, I guess. It's more of his professional journey. So bottom line up front, I would not recommend this as being a good use of your time. Overall score for me was a 4 out of 10. I think the main problem is it's just hard to understand what audience this was for, or who would be interested in this type of book. It read to me kind of like a more detailed LinkedIn page or a summary of lots of his positions. So I'll dive into the components. The first one is quality. It gets a 3 out of 3 here. No issues that I saw with the quality. The writing seems fine. I did listen to it on audiobook, so that might be a disclaimer, but and Reggie himself narrates it. It just didn't land with me as far as the experience. So again, I can't really think of really any passages that I enjoyed or that I thought to myself, wow, this is cool, or that I am glad to have learned, or I am glad to have been listening to this book. There's some, maybe, a half a chapter or a chapter or so about his young childhood, where he was living in the Bronx in some sketchy neighborhoods. But for the most part, after the history of his parents and that short time in the Bronx, it just reads kind of like a resume. He talks about his different jobs and some of the opportunities he had and career choices he made. If you're looking for an inside peek behind how Nintendo operates, I didn't feel like you really got much of that here. If you're in the industry and you're looking for tips on how he succeeded or sage advice from him, I didn't really see any of that either. So for me, yeah, I just didn't enjoy much of it or didn't really get anything out of it. I'm not sure if I just had different expectations for what the book was, but it didn't really land any of the notes that I was hoping it would. Which, for a return on your time, I think 0 is what I'm going to give it. Again, I think it was about 8-ish, 9 hours of an audiobook, and I don't feel like I came away with anything had I not read it. There's one specific passage that kind of encapsulated how I felt. It was just like an obvious. If you're familiar with Reggie, kind of became an internet meme when at an E3 presentation, he came on stage for Nintendo and said, "My name's Reggie. I'm about kicking ass and taking names, and we're about games." There was a large section or chapter dedicated to how they planned that statement, or how they planned his opening lines. He went back and forth because the PR folks said originally his line was, "I'm about games." They didn't like that since he was in marketing and sales, and they didn't think it would land. And there was all this consternation about what should we change the line to. He reached out to his mentor, who said, "Reggie, just change it to 'We're about games.'" And it's like, well, yeah, that seems like a pretty obvious choice to make. So again, it just didn't land for me, and I did not feel like it was worth my time. So 4 out of 10. But if you disagree and you did get something out of this, or you felt like it was a good use of your time, would love to hear about that in the comments and engage with you and hear again if just my expectations were off or if I was missing anything. But for me, it did not land, and I would not recommend Disrupting the Game. So thanks for your time. I will see you in my next review.